When I touched this pen, I saw this place.
I love the Hunger Games movies, The Matrix, Terminator. You know, sign me up for dystopia. But at the same time, I started to feel kind of the crush of it. And when that's the only future you're getting, even if it's pop culture, you really start to believe it. It starts to kind of get in your head. I started wondering whatever happened to that other future. I was born in the early 1970s, so there were still kind of flickers of this Jetsons-esque kind of utopia, this gleaming sort of city out there. It got me to thinking, can you show that today without it feeling like it's just corny and old-fashioned?
We see so many stories where the future is dark and grim, and it's not fun to look at or get excited about. So this movie is just a different take on that. It's realistic because people are seeing the future as this dark place to be, but my character kind of takes initiative and says, it doesn't have to be that. Just stop accepting the fate of darkness, and maybe we'll get a little bit of light.
We thought it was going to be very hard, which is why it didn't even occur to us to ask him. We kept describing this character as Clooney-esque, Clooney-like, and then Brad had the novel idea saying, we should probably ask George. We made some phone calls, and he was kind enough to let us come over to his house, and we ended up hanging out for a couple of hours and talking about all sorts of things. But it turns out that he really keyed into the message of the movie, or the radical idea of being positive.
It's like that circular thing that we find in the farmhouse that I put over I put over the bad guy that's hurting George Clooney so that he transfers into another place. I would love to have one of those things that I could do to like my whole body, so I could just go anywhere I want to be.
If you've only seen it once, yeah, there are a lot. I mean, it's a memorabilia store, so memorabilia is all over the place. I mean, there's Forbidden Planet and Day of the Earth Stood Still and Close Encounters and Star Trek and Star Wars and even some really bad science fiction movies that for one reason or another we thought would be cool to slip in there. So, there was a chance to pay tribute to The Simpsons a little bit. I worked on the first 8 seasons of The Simpsons, so it was fun. And I have a few Pixar things in there as well.
Ooh, the day after Tomorrowland. I was thinking Too Fast, Tomorrowland. But we'll see. I mean, it's really up to the audience now. I think that, we're certainly very proud of the movie, but we also wanted to design it so that it didn't end with some sort of sense of like, oh my God, like, yeah, they're setting up the next one. Here's Nick Fury, rolling in and saying to Clooney, look, I was really impressed with your work in this movie. The Avengers need you. We wanted it to feel complete. But I do think at the same time, there are so many stories left to tell in this world, and if the movie does well, we look forward to telling them.